Everyone knows I demand excellence, and I'm in it to win it. So that's why I've teamed up with PrizePicks, America's #1 fantasy sports app, to help turn my sports knowledge into some big-time money. In case you already didn't know, PrizePicks is a daily fantasy app where you choose 2, 3, or even up to 6 of your favorite players, and then simply pick more or less on their projected stats. It honestly takes less time than it does for Asia Wilson to dribble up the court and hit that long-range game-winning 3, you know. Every basket, every strikeout, every goal gets bigger each week. So download the PrizePicks app today and join a community of more than 3 million members. And if you do, PrizePicks will match your first-time deposit of up to $100. Yeah, that's right. You heard me. Go to PrizePicks.com right now and use code SAS. My initials, of course, in case you didn't figure that out. Just use promo code SAS on PrizePicks to receive a first deposit match of up to $100, and then let the games begin. PrizePicks. Pick more. Pick less. It's really, really that easy. It pays to get paid on Cash App. There are a lot of things in life that you care about and want to keep safe, like protecting your kids, your home, and your hard-earned dollars. That's a feeling that you can feel good about, just like you can feel good about depositing your paycheck on Cash App, knowing you have security features like card lock and transaction alerts, so you never have to wonder if your money is safe and or secure. With Cash App, instead of worrying about your money, you can spend your time wondering about things like, why is my hot dog called a hot dog? Who decided the distance on the three-point shot? Why is basketball so popular in France? With card lock and transaction alerts, you don't have to wonder if your money is safe. And when your money is safe, you can rest easy. That's money. That's Cash App. Download Cash App from the App Store or Google Play Store today. Welcome to the Stephen A. Smith Show right here over the digital airwaves of YouTube and, of course, iHeartRadio. Let's move on to a little politics, and let's talk about the race for the White House, where the final numbers are in from last Thursday night's presidential debate. Ratings indicate that more than 51 million people watched the debate, where former President Donald Trump repeatedly made false claims, by the way, and President Biden struggled to dispel concerns about his age. The debate opened up new worries over the stakes of a possible Trump presidency and sparked discussion about whether Biden should be his party's nominee. Personally speaking, I'm on the record, I don't believe that should be the case. I'm not apologizing for that to anybody. But I want to emphasize something. It's of no disrespect to President Biden. If you are on the left, you're looking at the economy, you're looking at job participation, you're looking at the economic numbers, you're thinking about so many other things that are transpiring. You're thinking about Roe v. Wade and Biden's desire to turn that back to what it once was before it was overturned a year ago. You're thinking about so many things on a positive note, and you're of the mindset that this president has done a relatively good job. If you're on the right, you think we should be drug tested because we must be smoking something. You're thinking about inflation. You're thinking about the border security. You're thinking about crime percolating throughout the United States of America. You're thinking about woke culture, and you're saying, what on earth are you talking about? Either way you slice it, I'm not going to apologize for what I feel, because I think the point that everybody is missing is that for me personally, I'm not judging the job that Joe Biden has done as president. I'll leave that to the aficionados to do, on both sides of the aisle for that matter. What I'm talking about is an individual. If you look at the tape, if you look at video, if you see him from just 4 years ago in 2020 compared to what he looks like now, yes, as Representative James Clyburn said Sunday morning on CNN, along with various other surrogates of Joe Biden, he's always had a stuttering issue. We didn't see stuttering, ladies and gentlemen. We saw brain farts. That's what we saw. And you see a man that, as Chris Cuomo articulated Friday on this very show, has clearly lost his fastball. I think that people are conflating the arguments. They're talking about the job that he has done, because if you're a leftist, if you're a liberal, if you're a progressive, you certainly appreciate the job that Joe Biden has done and the job that Joe Biden has tried to do compared to what you would get from a Donald Trump presidency. That's one argument, and I get that part. That's not what this is about. This is about Joe Biden looking at him and asking yourself, is he the ideal candidate for the next 4 years, starting in January of 2025? That's what this argument is about. That's what this discussion is about. And it is a question that is perfectly suited for my next guest, because she has an absolutely awful lot to say on this particular subject, and she wanted to get at me and everybody that thinks remotely like me on this particular subject to set us straight. She is an author, award-winning civil rights attorney, radio show host, and go-to expert on compelling legal and political matters. Please welcome to the Stephen A. Smith Show, yet again, the wonderful Areva Martin. How are you, Areva? Good afternoon. How's everything going?
Everything is good. I'm excited. I'm fired up. I'm ready to go.
Okay, I got to ask you, let's get right to it, because you and I speak privately, texting back and forth and all of this stuff. I'd like you to explain to people, as a political analyst, as somebody who is definitely a supporter of Joe Biden in this upcoming election, what the hell do you have to be excited about on this particular day? I'm all ears.
I am excited about the record that Joe Biden is running on. I am excited about our Vice President, Kamala Harris. I'm excited about Ketanji Brown Jackson holding up our democracy in the minority on our Supreme Court. I am excited about billions of dollars of student loan debt being relieved for students. I'm excited about $16 billion being dedicated to historically Black colleges and universities. I got a whole lot to be excited about. Hey, did Joe Biden have a bad night at that debate? Absolutely, positively, yes. But do you throw out a candidate because they have one bad debate? Donald Trump said, grab women by the P. He has 34 felony convictions. My brother D.L. Hughley put it best. If we can forget all of that, we can forget one bad night on a debate stage. Joe Biden is not a debater. He's a doer.
Okay, that is fair. And listen, I'm willing to acknowledge and articulate some of the successes that Joe Biden has had as president of the United States. I don't think that's debatable, but I think that, respectfully, folks like yourself, and you and I have talked about this privately, so I can say this. Here's where I think y'all missing the boat. Nobody's questioning Biden's record. Nobody with sense, as far as I'm concerned, is really, really questioning Biden's record. We might lament inflation and stuff like that, but that's for the right to do and all of that stuff. There's a lot of positives emanating from his administration. That is not the point. The point isn't about what he's done. The point is, when you see what you saw Thursday night during the debate, what reason in God's name would you have to believe or feel confident about 4 more years? You can feel both. You can look at him and his record and say, I'm pleased with what he has done. But in the same breath, why are we asking an 82 soon to be 82-year-old, 81 soon to be 82-year-old to give us 4 more years, particularly when there are candidates like a Kamala Harris, our reigning vice president, like a Gavin Newsom, governor of California, like a Hakeem Jeffries, speaker of the House. There's an abundance of candidates out there. Why are we looking at Joe Biden and saying 4 more years? That is the subject, Areva.
Okay, and let me tell you why. I'm glad you raised those points. Here is why. Because when you all being all of you folks that want to replace Joe Biden, when you had an opportunity to pick the Black woman, Kamala Harris, to pick a gay guy, Pete Buttigieg, to pick a Latino, when they were all running against Joe Biden in 2020, guess what? Kamala Harris couldn't even get to the general election because folks would not support her. They would not give money to her campaign. She had to drop out before the California primary. Y'all got selective amnesia. So don't tell me you all want Kamala Harris to be your president. When Kamala Harris ran for president, she could not get the support even of Black folks in our community. The reality is you're not just electing Joe Biden. You are electing an administration, and Kamala Harris will be in that administration.
Areva Martin, I got news for you. And to my producers, put us up on the split screen when I'm talking to her here about this. You are respectfully the last person who gets to say that, especially to me, Areva, and I'm going to tell you why. Because when I brought that up, okay, and by the way, I was supportive of Kamala Harris, but when I brought that up, last year, you and I had a discussion right here on this very platform, and we were talking about the Gavin Newsoms of the world and others. You said, I don't want to hear that. She is next in line. If Biden is not going to be there, it is her. This is what history has shown. The vice president for the serving under the administration of the incumbent, that is the next in line. That is Kamala Harris. So as we sit here today, I don't think it's right for you to say, hey, Y'all didn't support her before. The fact is, that was 4 years ago. A lot has happened in 4 years. Look at Joe Biden 4 years ago and look at him now. There is slippage, Areva. There's nothing wrong with somebody saying Kamala Harris, she's smart, she's bright, she's accomplished, she's been in the administration. We can support her.
You should support her. I support her. I'm her biggest fan. I'm her sister. I've been knowing her since college. I want her to be the president of the United States. But the point you're missing is you can't just skip over the existing president. Kamala Harris was the first one out on Thursday night saying support this administration. You can't change this 4 months before a national election. You want to blow up a party? You want to hand Donald Trump this election? Try to switch Joe Biden at the top of this ticket. For anybody, you think all these Democrats, 4,000 delegates that Joe Biden has won, are going to unanimously say, let's select Kamala Harris? Let's be real. Kamala Harris is a black woman. Gavin Newsom is a white man. He's the governor of my state. He was out talking on Thursday. I thought what he said was brilliant. But you've got to get 4,000 delegates to come to Chicago in August and all agree that someone other than Joe Biden should be the candidate, then go out and sell that to 80 million, 100 million Democrats. How are you going to do that? Where's the money coming from?
I'll tell you how, Areva. You know how you can easily sell it? By pointing out all the things that you've already pointed out about the alternative. If Donald Trump, this is Donald Trump we're talking about. 4 indictments, 91 counts, already a civil conviction for over $450 million, 34 felony counts exacted against him. And by the way, no one's on the left is switching to the right if Joe Biden is replaced, if Joe Biden steps away. But before I ask you this question, I want to play some sound for you because I had Chris Cuomo on News Nation. Chris Cuomo from News Nation came on this show Friday, and I want you to listen to my question to him and then his answer, which was it was directly aimed at you. I knew I was going to come for you to talk to you, and I asked him this question, Areva, just for you. Listen to the question and the answer. Speaking to a couple of other political analysts off the record, here's what I had one tell me. You can't change the candidate when the election is 5 months away. It would be suicidal and tear the Democratic Party apart. Do you agree with that at all?
No. You know, that's the problem with pundits, right? You're always in a 50-50 position. You're going to say something. If you're wrong, you just move to the next. And if you're right, you tell everybody about it. Right. There are no rules, Stephen A. There's so much money out there. And there's so much media saturation. You know, that answer is informed by an understanding that, like, it takes you a long time to get known in America. Right. We both know that's not true.
That's not true.
We have instant celebrities made every week on TikTok.
There you go, Areva Martin. To that, you say what?
Keep smoking that cigar and whatever else he got in that cigar, because what he's talking is yakety yak. You cannot change the top of the party in 5 months. My brother, Chris, I love you. I have a lot of respect for you, but you are dead wrong. And this notion that there's all that money. First of all, Stephen, who are we agreeing? There's a long list of Democrats, Kamala Harris, Gavin Newsom, Gretchen Whitmer. The list goes on and on and on. You've named 4 or 5 people. Where is their consensus? You've got to build consensus, and there is not consensus right now. If you pick a white man over Kamala Harris, black women, I can tell you this, we're going to walk away. We're going to blow the party up. If you pick the black woman...
Where you going to walk away to, Areva? Where you going to walk away to? You going to walk away? You ain't going to walk away to Trump?
Over Kamala Harris. So where are we getting agreement from on who this ideal Democratic candidate should be? Tell me that. Nobody's told me who it should be. And then tell me how you're going to get the 4,000 delegates, which I am one of them. I'm a delegate coming from California. So who's going to step out? One, tell Joe Biden you got to step aside. Because everybody's not being mature about this process. Joe Biden is not just the president. There's a whole team of people. There's an administration. So if Joe Biden, when he gets reelected, which my prediction is that he will, he brings with him Kamala Harris, the most diverse administration in the history of this country. Y'all need to just stay the course. We got more black judges appointed under Joe Biden than anyone, even President Barack Obama.
That is not the point, because we're not, once again, hold on, Areva. We are not.
I don't know anything about sports, but I know you don't give up on your star player in the middle of a game.
Okay, excuse me, time out. Let me explain to you. I can give you a host of examples of when teams have given up on a star player that has gotten a bit too old and beyond his prime. It happens in sports all the time, not just with coaches, but also with, not just with players, but also with coaches and also with executives. That's absolutely not true.
You tell me why every Democratic primary that has taken place between the time Democratic primary started this year until today, Joe Biden has won those primaries. If all of these Democrats wanted someone other than Joe Biden to be the candidate on the ballot in 2024, they had an opportunity before June of 2024 to make that a reality. And I don't know about all those sports figures that's been changed in games. I'm going to take your word for that. But I bet you they weren't almost at the finish line when you decided, let's change them out. We are almost at the finish line. We have an opportunity to save this democracy.
Areva,
and I bet you blow up Joe Biden, you might as well give Donald Trump the keys to the White House and let him start ruling the country in August.
Areva, first of all, Areva, there are a lot of people who believe that if a younger candidate was in the mix, Donald Trump is the one that would be in trouble, not those candidates. But secondly and most importantly, we got to look at this think about this. In 2020, Biden defeated Trump by a slim margin in the following 6 states: Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, of course. We look at all of those things. I'm looking at a left-leaning media that is whose support for Biden has dissipated. I'm paying attention to that. I'm taking into consideration what the polls are showing right now and the faith that has been lost in Biden. You say finish line. What I'm saying is, if Biden was close to the finish line, why take this debate to begin with this early? Usually presidential candidates are not debating against one another in June. Clearly Biden felt a level of urgency. So this finish line that you're talking about, where did it come from?
I totally disagree with you on that. And to the point he did this debate in June, this is a long runway from June to November. I
agree
suspect that people have forgotten about this debate come 4th of July when we're celebrating the 4th of July. And don't tell me anything about this corporate media, because the corporate media is the media that has pumped up Donald Trump. I read 500 newspapers every day. That's an exaggeration, people, so don't go crazy. But I read a lot of newspapers.
I understand.
You have to look and search high and low to find stories about the great work that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are doing. On the other hand, Donald Trump gets millions, if not billions of dollars of unearned media every day. So the corporate media has they have no legitimacy on the issue of this. And Democrats are panicking. And rather than panic, we need to come together, stay united, and finish the race. Finish the race. I can tell you for certain, there is no consensus about who this so-called replacement candidate will be. So do you want to spend the next 4 months fighting about that? And Gavin Newsom may be known to you and me, Stephen A. Smith, but I have family in St. Louis, Missouri. That's where I'm from. You ask people in St. Louis, you ask people in Detroit, who's Gavin Newsom? They're going to start scratching their hands, rubbing their chin, saying, who? What?
Hey.
So celebrities that Chris Cuomo's talking about,
that's fair.
They're celebrities in this bubble. They're not well-known household names outside of this little bubble that we exist in.
Yes, but Areva, they do know what they saw last Thursday night. They do know what they have been seeing. Listen, can I say this for the record here? It appalls me that we have to sit here and even have a debate like this, because here's my problem. The man is 81 years old. There's no shame in that. Listen, I'm not what I was in my 20s. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm not going to be in my 80s what I am now. And neither are you or anybody else.
I respectfully agree that you may not be where you are in 20 years. There are a lot of people sharp as a tack in their 80s. And I submit that Biden is. He's not a great debater. He's running the country. And he's done that at the highest and the best level ever. He's one of the best presidents we've seen in modern history. And Stephen A., we spending all this time, you and Paul talking about Joe Biden's age. How come you haven't asked me one question about Donald Trump? And what we need to be doing is making sure the American people know that Donald Trump appointed those Supreme Court judges that are gutting this country from all of our rights.
I'm coming to that, but the reason why I didn't bring him up that much is because there ain't no way in hell he's getting my vote. And I've made that very, very clear a long time ago. I believe I see what he is, and I think he's the most divisive force in America.
him. I sat next to one at a restaurant Thursday night after the debate. Damn near threw a glass of water on his head. So there are black men out there.
Stop that. You shouldn't do that, Areva. Stop that. You're too wonderful for that. Stop that. Okay.
I kept drinking my water in mine.
I know that, but I understand the temptation.
But there are black men out there who love Donald Trump. You know what this guy told me? I like Donald Trump because at least he tells the truth about telling lies. I said, excuse me?
Wow.
What
I got
did you just say?
It makes no sense.
When has he ever told us that he's a liar? I've never seen him admit he's a liar.
I only got time for two more questions. One would be this. Bill Maher in Real Time with Bill Maher on HBO called Biden Ruth Bader Biden, as in Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the former Supreme Court Justice, who Obama basically, in the Obama administration, basically pleaded with to retire. She did it because she wanted to hold out because she thought Hillary was going to win the election. Hillary did not. And instead of there being a 5-4 majority in the Supreme Court, it's now a 6-3 majority because she wouldn't step away. He used that as an analogy to President Joe Biden. What do you say to that real quick?
I say it doesn't fit. And I say he's panicking just like some of these other Democrats are panicking. We are not in that same situation. Look, this is the most consequential election of our lifetime. Our democracy is on the line. Today, a Supreme Court took 6 months too long to tell us that Donald Trump might be immune from actions that would land you, me, and everybody else we know in jail. The Supreme Court of this country is doing Donald Trump's bidding. If he gets reelected, Clarence Thomas, Samuel Alito, they're going to go off and make millions of dollars doing speeches. He's going to appoint younger, more conservative justice, maybe Eileen Cannon from the Florida District Court, who is literally acting as if she is Donald Trump's defense attorney. So if this country wants that, if they want a 7-2 more conservative court than what we already have, if they want every right that our ancestors fought for to be stripped away, then go off and fight about Joe Biden being removed from the ticket and let Donald Trump win. And then you and I'll come back to talk.
I just think you are being incredibly unfair to your colleagues and contemporaries on the left. I don't think they want that at all either. I just think they believe there's better options than the present incumbent. And I don't think you're like you can disagree with it, but you're acting like, oh my Lord, if they were to decide not to support Biden and they wanted a Kamala Harris, or they wanted a Newsom, or they wanted Wes Moore out of Maryland, who, by the way, I think would be an incredible candidate. If they wanted somebody like that, it's like you're throwing a party under the bus.
What I'm acting like is we got to stay the course and try to stay united. And all of these other conversations are distractions. I say that, and I say it unequivocally. They are distractions because we got work to do, and the work is not trying to decide who is going to replace Joe Biden.
Okay, well, I unequivocally disagree with you there, Areva, and you and I will be talking about this moving forward. I'm not giving into this opinion, Areva. I'm not giving it to it. But I want to get this last question out to you about the Supreme Court ruling today because I know that was important to you as well. Reading from the Wall Street Journal as we speak, the Supreme Court dealt a major blow. This is what the headline says. The Supreme Court dealt a major blow to Donald Trump's prosecution on charges he sought to subvert the 2020 election, ruling 6-3 Monday that former presidents enjoy sweeping immunity for their acts while in office. You wanted to touch on this subject to tell the world to pay attention to what's going on, and you actually had a positive spin about it. I just want you to express your thoughts to my audience about what's on your mind in regards to this ruling.
Well, I want people to pay attention because we can get caught up on how old Joe Biden is, how corrupt Donald Trump is. But the reality is those Supreme Court justices get there because they are appointed by the president. And when we lost the Hillary Clinton election, when she lost to Donald Trump, that's how we got to this Supreme Court. So if we're not paying attention to all the power that the president has, then we are going to lose out, not just on abortion rights, not just on voting rights, but now who gets prosecuted? Donald Trump is getting a pass that you, I, or no one else in this country would ever get. And at the same time, the Supreme Court on Friday also ruled to basically take back the power that administrative offices under the office of the president have, so that when Donald Trump does get elected, in their minds, I guess he is getting elected, he will be able to operate pretty much without impunity as a king, as a tyrant. And I just want people to understand that. I I don't love everything about Joe Biden. I hated that debate performance. I'm not naive or stupid or blind or deaf. I heard it. I saw it. It was horrible. But I can stay focused on the bigger picture here. And the bigger picture is the broader administration. No president is an island. They are a team. Trump's team, almost half of them are in jail. Steve Bannon is reporting to jail today. Biden's team is a diverse team of professionals that are protecting our democracy. And that's why I'm staying the course.
Are you fearful that you're one of the few?
Heck no. Heck no. I saw my vice president. I'm parodying my vice president. I'm parodying my governor, Wes Moore. I was just at an event with Wes. I said, Wes, are you going to support this administration? Are you going to ride with it until the wheels fall off? He said, Areva, I guarantee you that. So I'm not one of a few. I'm in the majority. Those people you're talking to, Chris Cuomo, et cetera, y'all in the minority. The majority is hanging with this administration until we are told to do something else.
Areva Martin, we're hanging, we're taking this position, right? But I would like to acknowledge that the New York Times agrees with that position about how Biden needs to step down. Hold on. The New Yorker believes in that position. The Chicago Tribune believes in that position. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution has believed in that position, along with a plethora of polls who says a lot of folks within the American community believes that. So what do you say to that?
I say, I don't believe anything the corporate media tells us. The reason we have Donald Trump is because the corporate media has spent the last 8 years propping him up. So why would I take my advice from them? I take my advice from the American people that voted for Joe Biden in each and every one of those primaries. If you tell me the voters, not the corporate media, decides that they want to use their delegation vote, I told you I'm a delegate. If the 4,000 delegates get to Chicago and decide, because they're free agents, There's no party boss telling us what to do. We get to vote our conscience. So if we decide to vote for someone else, that's the someone else that'll be on the ticket.
My very last question to you.
See,
Joe Biden stays. I can't. Joe Biden stays in this election. I promise you, this is my last question. Joe Biden stays in this election. He refuses to walk away. All right. He's staying the course. He goes and he competes, and ultimately he has a second debate in September. I pray that it's not nearly as bad as what we witnessed last Thursday. And then he is on a ballot, and the election takes place in November. And folks listen to you, and folks who think like you, the Kamala Harris, the Gavin Newsoms, the Wes Moore, and others. And Joe Biden loses this election. What are you going to say then to people who thought that he should have bowed out?
Stephen A. Smith, according to those corporate media sources you just cited and those polls, Joe Biden was losing this election even before he stepped foot on that stage in that debate hall in Atlanta, Georgia. So I would say this country has bought in, was hoodwinked, conned by a con artist. Had nothing to do with this one debate. Those polls have had Joe Biden and Kamala Harris losing pretty much consistently. So it is not going to be the debate that causes Joe Biden to lose if he does lose, and I don't think he will lose.
That's not what I asked you. That's not what I asked you.
Amnesia about the chaos, about the tyranny of Donald Trump.
That is not what I asked you. I asked you if this man stays the course and he's in the election and he loses, Areva, the people support him and he still loses this election, how are you going to feel? That's what I asked you.
I'm going to feel the same way I would have felt pre-June debate and post-June debate. I will feel horrible because I know the harm that a tyrant like Donald Trump will cause, particularly for people that look like you and me. I will feel horrible for all those people that didn't pay attention to the importance of appointments to the federal court, to the importance of DEI, to the importance of everything that Donald Trump and his MAGA supporters are trying to strip away from us that have fought hard for these rights, for the liberties that we enjoy, for gay people. They're coming after gay marriages. They're coming after interracial marriages. They're coming after everything that we have fought for. So I would feel horrible. Absolutely. I felt horrible when Hillary Clinton lost because I could foresee this Supreme Court. I'm a civil rights lawyer. I knew this was going to happen. I knew we were going to be fighting about, can I get an abortion? My body. Can I save my life to abort a fetus. I knew we would be having this fight, and I felt horrible about it. And here we are fighting about women's reproductive freedoms and our health, and white men predominantly in state legislatures around this country telling us what we can and cannot do with our bodies. Knew it was coming. I feel
I definitely agree. I definitely agree with that last part, and I agree with some of what you said. Some of I did not, but we'll discuss for another day. I can't say this now. I just love you. I love you to death. I mean, I love talking to you. I love going back and forth with you. You are something else. You really, really are. I love you to death. I really do. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Love you back. I'm gonna learn some more about sports, and I'm gonna really.
Don't worry about it. And please don't do that to me. I can barely deal with you now. I can't deal with you if you get into sports. Right? Don't wish that on me. Thank you so much, Areva Martin. You take care of yourself. I'll talk to you soon, okay?